JamesAnimalHarrison. It's new lesson day, which means another shuffle. And we're going to talk about a shuffle today that I get a lot of requests for. If you see a dog popping his head in, he's standing right here wanting to get in the video like he always does. Anyway, the shuffle today is Rosanna by Jeff Porcaro and Toto. I've been asked about this a lot over the years and whatnot. I played this in one band back in the 80s, and it may have lasted for a week in the club before we dropped it because nobody would dance to the song. It's a great tune, it's a great groove, but it's just one of those tunes that didn't go over on a dance floor. However, it is a highly respected tune by all drummers everywhere. So I'll break it down in a couple different ways, and we're not going to do all the fills and stuff because I took my toms and stuff down that are normally here so you can see. This is what a lot of people consider to be a halftime shuffle. If you don't know what that is, basically a regular shuffle, and I'm talking about rock shuffles right now, has a backbeat on 2 and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, do, you got to, do, you got to. A halftime shuffle would move that backbeat to 3. Do, 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 got to, do, do, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. That makes it a halftime shuffle. Really what it is, the amount of notes between the backbeats makes it a halftime shuffle. You could play sextuplet shuffle, a sextuplet shuffle, and count it as 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. In that case, it is still a halftime shuffle. So it doesn't matter if you count it all as long as you can play the tune. Okay? First off, I want to mention Jeff Porcaro has a video out that put a video out back in the 90s, I believe, where he demonstrates for a quick second the groove that he played on Rosanna. And what he plays on there is slightly different than the isolated drum track that's on YouTube of Toto playing Rosanna without, they pulled everything out except the drums. And there's some differences in there than you hear when Jeff explained in his video. And of course, that's many years down the road. And oftentimes when you're at clinics or anything like that and you ask about a particular groove, they just kind of play the ballpark of it because they played so many things like that it's often not exactly what's there. And of course, there's, you know, the chance that they may have morphed into something or changed it during the song as well. So anyway, so I'm going to talk about what he says in his video and then what the isolated drum track is where you don't hear some of those things. The first thing is, it's a bass drum beat that he says he took from Bo Diddley. He said, I put the Bo Diddley beat in there. And what he did is it's similar to the Bo Diddley beat. If you don't know what the Bo Diddley beat is, it's an accent pattern that's basically a 3-2 clave. And there's a ton of tunes out there that use this. And a Bo Diddley beat would be like this. Something along those lines. What he did on his bass drum was take this pattern. And put it underneath that shuffle. Now on his video, he adds an extra note and he does this. And I think he alternates those every other time. On the isolated drum track, I don't hear the last bass drum that would line up with the snare. But to play this beat, the two things I think you really need to work on are being able to play a halftime shuffle with this bass drum pattern, no ghost notes whatsoever. I'm going to play it kind of slow. Hopefully I won't mess it up. It's a little awkward to play slow. The basic groove with no ghost notes. The last two times through that, I put the bass drum note against the last snare, which he does in his video, but again, on the isolated drum track, it's not there. Okay? So that is the basics of the Rosanna groove without the ghost notes. Now, something Jeff Porcaro does in a lot of his shuffles is ghost notes, and that's not unique. A ton of people do ghost notes in their shuffles. But what he tends to do a lot is rim shot a backbeat and then follow it with a ghost note, where a lot of other times people who do that will leave it out. And if you don't know the difference, here's a pattern with ghost notes, and I'll leave the ghost note out after the backbeat. Here's what Jeff Porcaro would tend to do. It is not a big difference, it's a very subtle difference. Now, what he does on Rosanna is he does that. That's the hand part, and you put that with the bass drum. I'll try to do this slow. I haven't done this slow for years, and I hope I don't mess it up on camera, but it's here to stay if I do. Slightly messed it up. So anyway, there it is. When you get it closer to the regular tempo, you need to work on it. It's a little tough. It's actually a little cold in this room. I hope it's early in the morning right now, and this is an add-on to the house that's a little colder. I hope my hands will work trying to play it up to tempo. Something like this. Definitely a little choppy, but that's the gist of the main groove. Okay? And then it goes into a bridge where he plays a very simple pattern. It's 4 on the floor with a bass drum, quarter notes on the cymbal, a hi-hat I believe is on 2 and 4, and the snare is just playing 2 and 4. But it's like every other time or every fourth time he puts a buzz in there, kind of like it's the section of the tune where I'm not a singer, but it says, "Not quite a year since you went away." So it's like. Okay, and that leads into the chorus. And the chorus, in my opinion, is actually more difficult to play. It's got a different bass drum pattern. I'll try to play this slow with no ghost notes. And the chorus is the part, again, that says, like, "Meet you all the way, Rosanna, oh yeah," or whatever they say. So it's kind of a weird part. See if I can do it slow. There it is, basically slow. Now, the ghost note pattern is different than what he did during the verse. He doesn't do as many. He kind of, it's in some instances, it almost seems like it's random, or it's more of a 2 and a 4 type thing. So kind of like. Something like that. I might be leaving out one ghost note at the very end. I haven't listened to the tune in a while, but something like that. And that takes you through the sections of the tune. So give it a try. Again, just work on it. And when you can get that going comfortably, then you can put the bass drum part in and you'll have the tune. It's a great tune. It's I keep saying, the basic part of the tune, there's nothing basic about it. It's a tough one. It's an endurance exercise when you play the entire tune. again, I haven't played this tune. There's the dog. I haven't played this tune in a band since the 80s. Again, strictly because it's not a great dance tune, but it is a great tune. Also, I switched drums for this video too. This is a Mike Borden signature snare from Yamaha. Rosanna was actually recorded back in the 80s on a fairly low-pitched snare, and in his video in the 90s, it was a piccolo, so it's a completely different sound. But for those who've actually listened to the tune, I decided to put a lower pitched snare in the video to do that. So again, this is the Yamaha Mike Borden signature snare. It's got a P77 coated power stroke head from Remo. And believe it or not, there's a dollar store gel on here that's in the shape of a star. That's just to make it easier for the camera to not go crazy. So there you go. Ed Murphy, look at the camera. Come on, look. He doesn't want to. He just is a camera hog, but not looking at the camera. So there you go. Rosanna by Toto. Thanks.